Hello there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Please, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. And then at the end of the video, even if you like the video or you dislike the video, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what I can make it better with. So, sitting at 191 subscribers at the moment. So, we're getting close to, well, no, we're near close to 1,000, but we're getting there. But we'll go through today's video because, that's what I'm here for and I love it. So, today's video is all about Errant and Giada. 1 white and blue for a 2/3 flash flying human angel legendary creature. And it has, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. That's nice, you know what's coming. But you may also cast spells with flash or flying from the top of your library, which is nice. It means you haven't got, if you've got that card you want sitting there on top of your library and it's got flying and you can play it without having to draw it. It's great. So, how are we building this deck today? Well, we're humans and angels and flashing. Probably shouldn't have said flashing. It's probably the wrong word to use in the video. But anyway, here's what we've got today. Start as usual, as I always do with my videos, with the land. We're only playing 36, but we've got a fair amount of ramp in here. And they're all the blue-white lands you can expect to have in. We have got Fabled Passage in. We didn't play Field of the Dead today. It's not coming into this thing. We've got a nice number of islands, a nice number of plains, and a few lands like Terramorphic Expanse, Obscura Storefront, Evolving Wilds, Fabled Passage I've already mentioned, to go and find maybe the colours we're missing. If we need double white or double blue, we can go and use them to find it. The ramp side, for the mana ramp, we've got Soul Talisman, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Marble Diamond, Sky Diamond, and Talisman of Progress, and Solemn Sim. So I always count Solemn Simulacrum as a ramp spell nowadays. Gone a bit heavy. Obviously, you can drop the Crypt and the Vault if you want to build it in real life, make it a little bit cheaper. That's fine. But we've had to go heavy because a lot of the spells we want to get into play cost 4 or more mana. And, that's what the aim of the deck is to try and get there and get things going for us. So, what about the rest of the deck? Well, start with a bit of removal. You've got to have some removal in the deck. So Path to Exile came in. Maybe it should be Swords to Plowshares. I'll sooner give people life instead of lands, but I went with Path to Exile for this one for a day for a bit of a change. So, that's one easy change. Errant Street Artist is here because it's a flash creature for 1 blue mana. It's got Defender and Haste, but the great thing is you can copy target spell you control that wasn't cast. You may choose new targets for the copy. So, yeah. Okay, we can do some copying. That's quite good fun. Serum Visions, just so we can draw a card. It could be Preordain, it could be Ponder, whichever one you prefer. I just went with Serum Visions for this one today. Just so we can, draw a card, look at the top, scry 2. Hopefully with Errant and Giada in play, we'll pull the land we might need and then have the angel, a creature with flying or something with flash on top of our library ready to go when we need it to. As usual, because we are playing... we've played Errant over here. We might as well play Giada itself. The Angel theme is reasonably strong in this deck, so hopefully you'll get the +1/+1 counters on it. And, the extra bit of mana you get from old Giada when you're trying to cast Angel spells does help. Luminarch Ascension's here. We're hoping we can get this in play. I'll put it in just so we can create some more angels more than anything else. But if you get out early enough, you don't usually lose life that early in games of Commander on MTGO. So, getting the counters on here and getting it up so you've got 4 more counters on the Luminarch Ascension is quite doable in this deck. And, 2 mana for a 4/4 flyer whenever you want to then is pretty good. Youthful Valkyrie, just so we can get some more +1/+1 flyers around us. Another angel, it's got flying. We can play off the top of our library. And then Tomic, Distinguished Advocist. This one's quite interesting. There's a lot of people playing Thalia and the Gitrog monster at the moment. So, lands on the battlefield and land cards in the graveyards can't be targets of spells with abilities your opponents control. And then it stops our opponents playing lands back from the graveyard. So I figured this one had to come in. Double white's a little bit tricky sometimes, but hey, we've got to go for it. Cyclonic Rift controls the board. Favourable wins because we've got a lot of creatures with fly, so we might as well pump them a little bit with this one. Search for Kanza gives us the 37th land that we might need eventually, but it does get us through our library so we can get things on top of our library that are more helpful in top of the library instead of in our hand. And Snappy's here because we've got Flash. And that does mean, with something like Counterspell or Mana Drain, we do have the possibility of doing sort of like an extra counterspell when no one's expecting it. I've gone with Invasion of Dominaria just for, just so I could have another March of the Machines card in here more than anything else. But the 4 life and card draw can be useful, and at the end of the day, it's a 5 toughness battle, which you should be able to do with your flyers eventually, which then turns into a very nice angel. So, hey hum, keep it going. Feywild Visitor's a bit of a strange one. I don't play many of the backgrounds, I'll be honest, but this one seemed quite good in this deck, because whenever one or more non-token creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature with that. Now, if I've got the rules right for this in Commander, you've still got 3 opponents. If you damage all 3 opponents, you'll get 3 more fairies. I think that's right. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below, but I believe that's how it works. Winged Words, because we've got a lot of creatures with flyers, we might have some extra cheap card draw. Celestial Regulator, just so we can tap something down that's annoying us, and it gets that nice tap down counter on it, which is great. And then Vega the Watcher, whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, draw a card. Works really well with Errant, has to be said, because you're casting spells off the top of your library. Oh, excuse me. A lot of the time that gives you that extra card draw, which can be very helpful in this deck. Restoration Angel, just so we can ping things in and out, or exile them and return them. We've got a few things that comes into play effects, so we'll get to them. Rhoda, Geist Avenger's also here. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, if it isn't being declared as an attacker, put a +1/+1 counter on Rhoda. Now, this is one of the few creatures we can't cast off the top of our library, but it's quite a nice little blocker. And it gets quite big when your opponents tap for creatures, especially the mana ramp creatures that are coming along at the moment. Teshar, Sister's Apostle. When you cast a historic spell, return target creature card mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. We've got a few of them that, may need to be coming back at some stage. So it made sense to include this one for a change. Again, another creature with flying, so I can't complain. Court of Grace, just so we can get Spirit Blocker every turn. Hopefully we'll get the Angels if we're still the Monarch, but the extra card draw in the Monarch's great. Day of Judgment, a bit more board control. You could play Wrath of God if you prefer, if you own that. And then Serra the Benevolent. Makes an appearance. Because we've got so many creatures with flying, the +1/+1 until the end of turn can be quite useful. Likewise, the -3 to get the Angel token, again, a bit of a bonus. Wrath of God is also here. Breaching Hippocamp, again, sorry, I should say, Day of Judgment, Wrath of God, interchangeable. I'm playing both. If you want to play something else, feel free to change them over and play whichever ones you want. Breaching Hippocamp, because it has flash, and means we can tap or enter the battlefield, untap another target creature we control. Goes quite nicely if we've had to attack with something we need a big blocker. One of the things that has happened is sort of like I've had this in play, I've hit it with Resto, got 2 blockers come into play, and it's very nice. Stunt Double gives us a copy of any creature we want that everyone else has got. And Wizards of Thay. Instant sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast, and we can cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. So, not going to complain about that. Narset Transcendence, just so we can play around with the top of our library more than anything else. Gives us another way of getting things off the top of the library that get in the way of us casting creatures with flying and flash. Wrath is here. We can cast all our historic spells with flash when we have it in play, and it's got flash and fly, so it's a nice one to have on top of the library to get out instantly. Along with Tobias, Doomed Conqueror. Now this one I do like having sitting on top of the library. I prefer having it in my hand for this one, because we need it in our hand to get the zombies when we lose everything on the board. So yeah, a little bit of a change round. It's quite fun. Supreme Verdict gives me the 3rd way of controlling the board, and this one's nice because it can't be countered. Solemn Sim I've mentioned. Cataclysmic Gearhulk. Another creature that hasn't got vigilance or flash. But it does give us a way to deal with all the annoying stuff that we don't like in play. Because we've got so many Angels, Lyra Dawnbringer seemed like a bit of a no-brainer in this deck, along with Avacynth's Guardian Angel. Prevent all damage will be dealt to target player or planeswalker this turn by colour sources of your choice. So, makes you kind of invulnerable to some things. Cavalier of Dawn just comes in and blows things up, and then it's a lovely target for the Restoration Angel. So we've got to have some sensibilities, and it's 4/6, it's quite a nice big blocker. The other half of the partner pair is here. Timon Youthful Geist is here. It has got flying, so this one we can play off the top of our library. And at the beginning of each combat, tap up to one target creature. Obviously, this paired with a Rhoda is very nice because that means Rhoda gets bigger every combat. So, we won't complain too much. Behold the Unspeakable, just so we can slow down our opponent's creatures. And then we get to do a bit of drawing and then becomes a nice big flyer, hopefully. Cavalier of Gales has flying, and we get to do the whole brainstorm thing when it comes into play. And then when it dies, we shuffle it into its owner's library and then scry 2. So it keeps repeating itself, which is quite nice for one of these. Yorion, yeah, I could have played this as the I could have gone up to 120 cards in the deck and played its partner, but I decided just to have it in the deck as it normally is, just so we can get the benefit of it coming to play and blinking stuff. Teferi, Heria, Dominaria. I'm playing a blue-white deck. You've got to have Teferi in the deck. Sorry, it's just the way it goes with my mind. Likewise, Elspeth's here. Elspeth's here for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's the 4th kind of wrath effect for destroying all creatures with power 4 or more. Most of our creatures are below that, so we're not complaining. But it also gives us some soldiers if we need some blockers, which I can't complain about. The -7, you'll find that Elspeth gets killed really quickly. If you get the -7 off, you've done a lot better than I've done in any game playing Elspeth for a long time. Linvala the Preserver's here, just so we can gain the life and get an angel if we need to. The Eternal Wanderer. You get to exile a creature and return it to the battlefield under the next end step. Another great target for the Resto Angel. And Shark Typhoon. We've got a lot of instants and sorceries, non-creature spells in the deck. We might as well make some flying sharks while we're at it. Consecrated Sphinx. This one, people will probably wonder why. It's because it's got flying, so we can play off the top of our library, but the extra card draw can be really useful if we're playing a long and grindy game. And the Prodigy's also here. Another way of copying something that's just come into play. So, it might be that we want 2 copies of our Restoration Angel, for example. It could be useful. Bruna's here because, we haven't got any auras or anything like that, but I just fancied playing Bruna, to be honest. Bruna should probably be taken out and something else more useful put in. Some of the ones you could put in are like Lear, you could put Jingataxis in, you could put Cemetery Protector in, and a few of the other ones up here, Sea Dasher Octopus maybe. But I decided to stick with Bruna because people then panic and they send a targeted removal at it, so they think you're going to go off a load of enchantments, so bear that in mind. Achroma, Vision of Ixodor's in. Gets all those nice abilities and chucks them all around, or gives people power and toughness bumps. With this in play, everything's going to get at least +1/+1 at the beginning of each combat, because they all have flying. But some of the other creatures have all sorts of things, make them even bigger. Emeria, the Shepherd's in. Hopefully we'll be putting the planes into play and return the non-land permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. You can return the things from the graveyard to the battlefield if they're playing planes, so it makes perfect sense to me. Emergency power is just so we can shuffle everything back in what's been wiped out and then hopefully get a 7 or less value or less creature into play or something. And then Achroma's Memorial. Let's give everything pro red, pro black, flying, trample, haste. This with Achroma gets very silly very quickly. Next version of Avacynth is in as well. Everything becomes indestructible. Happy with that. And the final angel in the deck is Rhea Dawnbringer. Now, I am very tempted at some stage to do a whole Rhea Dawnbringer deck because I don't think this commander sees enough play. But at the moment, she's appearing here because she's got flying and she's on theme with the angel side of it. So, I can't complain too much. But that's it. That's my really fast deck tech for Errant and Giada today. Obviously, it's going to be expensive if you try and build it in real life. Change things around if you want to try and play it in paper. But I think, just going down the angel theme, you can put some more flash cards in. I know there's some I haven't got in the deck that could be useful, but I decided to go down more the angel flying route today with this. So that's where we are. So leave me a comment. Let me know what I've missed. Let me know what you'd include in the deck. Please make sure you've subscribed. Help me get above, 191. Let's try and get to 250 would be really nice. I will still respond to the comments as I get them. So, keep your eyes out for any comments you do make. You'll get a response from me when I see them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.